Hello. Hi. Thank you for being with me here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Who is Angie Campanelli? Deep right off the start, isn't it? I am a proud woman and mom and friend, teacher, producer, creator, lover of life, to be totally honest. I don't know. I change every year, every month. I feel like I have a different role in life.
You're a busy woman.
I am, but I like it that way.
And you wear a lot of different hats.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is the biggest job that you're managing right now in your life?
I think once you have kids, the biggest job, even if whether you go to work every day or you're at home, your biggest job is your kids. Because ultimately, if the school calls, you got to be there. I've already forgotten a lunch. I've made all those mistakes. So definitely my biggest job is my children. Mm-hmm. But then obviously my entrepreneurial spirit and trying to start a business and keep it going and working on that 5-year plan, it's always at the forefront of my mind too. Mm-hmm. So constantly, I met up with a Chinese doctor yesterday and he was like,
Is your chi good?
He was like, you, too
on.
much up here. And I was like, eh.
But you're an inspired woman, would you say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Easily inspired by everything around me.
Would you say your 20-something self would be surprised at where you are today?
Oh my gosh, my 20-something self would not recognize the person that I am today. All of the goals and dreams and aspirations that I had laid out through university and growing up and where I thought I would be is the complete opposite of where I'm at.
Where did you think you would be?
I never envisioned myself with kids, ever. I never pictured it. I wasn't sure I wanted them. So definitely not a mom. I wanted my PhD. I pictured myself doing some kind of international journalism. I just had big goals that way, and I was working towards it and just got derailed and didn't do any of that.
It's amazing how motherhood really takes over your life.
It does.
Though. And to me, you seem like motherhood it suits you so well. And it's such a beautiful thing on you. Do you find the balance of motherhood and work life a struggle at times?
I know we've talked about this till everybody's blue in the face. Like, I just do not believe that there's this magic balance. And people have said that before, so it's almost becoming cliche. I think some days you're going to be better at one role, and other days you're going to be better at something else. Some days you're going to go to bed with guilt over not doing enough work, which I get the most. I'm like, I put it off so much. Some days I'll say to my husband, can you just take the kids? I need half a day, and I really need to get through this work because it is piling, and I can feel the weight on my shoulders. And he'll say, sure, okay. And I'm setting up in my office, and I can hear him saying, get your shoes. We're going to go to the park. Maybe we're going to drive by here. We'll grab an ice cream. Come on, guys, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, park? Ice cream? I don't want to sit here. I'm like, wait for me. I'm coming. And I leave I do it all the time.
But that's being in the moment. That's amazing.
That's how I live.
Yeah.
And then I go to bed, though, at night, and I'm like, I didn't do anything at all.
I got to work now all night. So you're married?
Yes.
And how did you meet your partner?
We actually met through work. So my husband is Rick the Temp Campanelli. So we met when I was 19, and he was the host of my spring break. And I have all these pictures.
Wait, what's your spring break?
Well, like Western. I went to Western, and the school went for spring break with Much Music Spring Break in Daytona Beach, Florida.
That's the best story. I just got chilled.
And he was like doing the wet t-shirt contest and interviewing it. He asked me for an interview, but I grew up in a really small town, so I had never seen much music. And I didn't know who he was, and I wasn't into that. I've never been into the music video scene. Like I said, I always wanted to be a journalist and work for National Geographic, and I was a scholar. So I didn't know who he was, and I didn't care.
So you weren't enamored by it?
Zero chance. He's also really short. And back then, my boyfriends were all like over 6 feet. So I was like, who's this cute little guy? And then you fast forward, when I first finished my master's, I got a job in the same building as Much Music. And again, he was there, I was there. Paths didn't really cross other than to get an interview from my sister. Fast forward a few more years, and we're both now working at ET Canada. And it took about 1.5 years for us to get on each other's radar. But they always say, like, don't poop where you eat.
Don't dip your pen in the company ink. Is that worse?
Well, I dipped,
you did.
I ate, and
worked out for you. Yeah.
Slow start, but it happened.
Yeah. And so what was your childhood like?
So my mom was a single mom. for quite a while, and we moved around a lot. And I have a brother, and myself and my mom, the three of us were kind of like a tight-knit unit. And then my mom remarried when I was 10, and then they had a child together. So we're a blended, very modern family.
Did you have a happy childhood?
Yeah, ups and downs. I think it's, we hear it all the time in the media, like I was bullied, and all of the things that people encounter today that are so blown up, I think happened in the 80s and 90s to most of us too. So I encountered a lot of what most kids encounter today. I was teased for my hair. I was teased for the shape of my eyes. I was like, you get teased for things that when you grow up, you're like, I love those things about me.
Right.
But when I was little, I hated it. I would call my mom. She would be at work and I would be bawling. And I, needed consolation. I was 8 years old, 9 years old, but I couldn't figure out why people called me names every day. And,
it's all in hindsight when you grow up and you realize that it actually had nothing to do with you and everything to do with them.
And everything your mom tells you, she was like, those things that those kids are teasing you about, you're going to love one day. And I was like, you're so wrong. And I never had a best friend because we moved so much. We were never in a school very long. I never had that close-knit group of friends. I remember feeling lost and having conversations with my mom all the way through to high school, just being like, when am I going to have my people?
Yeah.
I don't have my people. And she was busy with my stepdad and her new baby. And I felt very isolated and very alone, but it taught me to function and excel in those circumstances.
And probably be independent like you are, right?
100%.
Are you close to your mom?
Very.
Oh, that's
like
nice.
we're very close. She lives in another country, but like there's a soul, like a kinship there.
That's great.
She taught me to be like a good mom and be independent, and I saw through her that like you can do it. And times are going to be really crappy, and you may not have money, and you may not have the right food or the right job, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, but you get through it. Like there's always an end point.
Right. So what would you say are some of the biggest struggles that you've overcome? Or maybe biggest struggle, something that might stand out that you've overcome to get you to where you are today?
Definitely not having family around me has been a massive struggle, and not having a close-knit group of friends. Like I've spent many, many years feeling like I was just wearing a mask, constantly trying to pretend that I was happy and this great person because I wanted so desperately to fit in, and never really feeling like I had my place or my tribe. And then as I got older, I guess just trying to really live authentically in a world that is so fake, and it doesn't resonate with me. And I got caught up in it. I got caught up in trying to be somebody else or something else and be a certain somebody for a certain group of people. And the further away I got from my core, I did not feel good. I was getting like anxiety, and I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't figure out what was going on in my life at all. And my relationship, my marriage has taken many hits. Like it's not a walk in the park. People think, oh, I look on your Instagram and you guys are so happy and you have a perfect family. But people just really need to understand, like, and we hear it all the time, social media isn't real. And you can't look at other people and go like, oh, they have it all.
Because which is what people do.
I know they do.
Yeah.
And I've even done it. Like
Me too.
when I was recovering from post baby body, I was looking at all these other people. I'm like, 2 months postpartum. Like, I don't understand this comparison. It's so wrong. And I don't know how to fix it.
Well, I think this is a great opportunity. Like the fact that you're open and candid and you share. And to be honest with you, I've always been attracted to your personality and on social media because I feel like you are so like that. So I think talking and sharing our stories is really like a big step towards that to, demolishing that myth of perfection. Because
especially for women, like so many women feel lonely, and so many women question why they don't have what other women have. And it's hard to constantly be trying to figure out in your head, why doesn't my life look like that?
Right.
Why doesn't my marriage feel like that? Why doesn't my motherhood experience sound like that? It's because you're you. Everyone's journey is so unique.
Yeah, and your happiness is unique. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's talk about happiness.
Okay.
What makes you happy?
My family. The sense of community. Like I've learned, we moved to Burlington from Toronto, and we've created, like I said, my family, nobody lives in the city. And we've created aunts and uncles and cousins with our neighbors. And like there's just that once you have that, it grounds you as a person.
And you value it, right?
You value it. You don't sweat the small stuff, kindness, giving. it changes your DNA. I think for like in your 20s, you're so caught up in take. What can the world give me? It's less about what can you think that you're trying to give. Like you're always like, what am I going to leave in this world, like leave behind? And what's my legacy? But you do a lot of taking in that time as you try to build yourself up. And I feel like once women get into their 30s and onward, it's a magical place.
And becoming a mother definitely changes that as well, right? Because you're giving constantly, 24/7. What makes you mad?
My husband. Hopefully he won't watch this. Kidding. What makes me mad? Negativity. I really am not a negative person, and being surrounded by people who just complain and complain and complain, I'm like, man, there are bigger fish to fry. Like the stuff that's coming out of your mouth, it's pointless. And that really like I can't be around it. Like I find it toxic. I get mad. I don't really think that I get super mad. I'm more impatient. I would say I'm impatient and frustrated more than I would be mad.
Okay.
Yeah. Like even when I'm yelling at my kids, it's usually one of the other two.
Right. Not an angry person. You don't come off like that.
No.
What scares you?
Oh my gosh. Since having kids, I totally developed postpartum anxiety, and not enough people talk about it at all. I didn't even know it was a thing. I co-sleep. My kids are 5 and 3. I'm in bed between them every night. Like I have anxiety as a mom about what happens when I'm not there. It took me, I didn't travel till last summer.
I remember that.
My first trip away from my kids, and it was for one of my best friend's birthday, and she had to pay and tell me, I bought your ticket, you have to come with me, or I wouldn't go. So I'm definitely scared of things I probably shouldn't be. I like things clean. Germs freak me out. The unknown freaks me out. We could do a whole story on
I love it. I've got the germ issues too. All right. What was the worst day of your life?
I've had many. Many. So you could pick a decade or a part of life. But I think most recently that comes to the forefront of my mind. My son choked on a toy in front of me and almost died. Called 911. It's a very long story. I've posted about it on my social, but I also developed PTSD from that, like waiting for the ambulance and almost having your child die in your arms changes everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Totally. Best day of your life?
To be cheesy and honest, like every day just feels like the best day because
I love you.
It's true though. And people hate me for it. Like there is a massive social movement lately.
I love you for that.
Yeah, I just find there's this massive social media movement where everybody is like, oh, motherhood is so hard, and it's great to express how hard it is because it is hard, but like we're also very blessed.
Yeah.
And I know people who their dream is to have kids and they can't. And I'm like, every day I wake up and I have my kids and I can choose to like take them out of school and go do something fun or play at the playground. Like I can't really complain, I can't. So every day I'm like, it's just.
I love it. I love it. Okay. If you could share some words of wisdom to your younger self, what would you say to her? Don't plan because things constantly change. I'm not even a big proponent of 5 and 10 year plans because you think you're on track for something and they never happen. And lighten up. And I still haven't lightened up. So I would tell my current self, like, lighten up because I'm very organized and like methodological with a lot of things in my life. Yeah. But enjoy the ride a little bit more. Don't worry too much what everybody else is doing. That people say stay in your own lane. If I had to have focused on myself and what I was doing years ago before everybody else was doing it, I would be somewhere else. Like I started a blog maybe 2009 or 10 before they were even a thing. If I had to have stayed on that path and been like, no, this is going to be something one day, I wouldn't be working so hard right now to build it up. But you are where you are and you're doing amazing. So thank you so much for being here with me today and for sharing with us. And good luck with everything because it's a great, very great adventure you're on. Thank you.